Hey everybody, Quentin here with Mid-South Outdoor Life. Welcome to another episode of Fishing with Lucille, where today we're going to add a little something extra to the normal 360 view and fishing shots. I'm going to do an update today on my original introduction video to this boat. When I first started doing this channel, one of my first videos that I did was the introduction to the LUCILLE 4, where I talked all about this custom built fishing pontoon that I built myself in my shop at home. And by far and away, that video is one of the most commented videos on my channel. People want to know more about the design. They've got questions like top speed and mileage and all that stuff, and I've done my best to answer that. But in the close to a year since that video was made, I've made a lot of upgrades. I've switched some things around from my original design and added new equipment, and so I'm going to go over that today, so that some of you out there that are doing your own pontoon builds might be able to share in that information, and hopefully it'll help somebody out. So here we go. So one of the first things that I'm going to show you is right here at the back of the boat, and that is this shallow water anchor. This is the 12-foot Minn Kota Talon. It's easily one of the best things that I've added to this boat. Often when I'm at a gas station or a boat ramp, I get a lot of people asking what this is, people that have never seen a shallow water anchor before. And then even people that understand shallow water anchors, they kind of look at me funny and wonder why I have one on a catfishing boat. They think about them, just for bass fishing. And it's true, I don't use this to stop me on a shallow flat so I can pitch lures at a target. That's not what it's for on this boat. A lot of times, at different times of the year, I will beach this boat up against the bank, up on, maybe it's a beach, maybe it's a steep cut bank. But when I'm fishing these rivers, a lot of times there's heavy currents pushing on the side of the boat. And even if you do have a nice tapered bank to put the front of the boat on, those currents will push you right off that bank. Or if I want to fish a cut bank, you can't push the front of the boat up there. And so what this does is it allows me to just wedge the boat in pretty much anywhere. No matter if it's a steep cut bank or maybe it's just a small log pile, I can just push the front end up against something and drop this pole 12 foot down into the, whatever's down there, but it'd be mud, sand, or rock. And I can hold in a lot of places that I otherwise either wouldn't be able to at all, or I would spend several minutes at a time getting the anchor out and running it up on the bank, getting my feet all muddy, and then having to scrape the mud off my feet when I get back on the boat. All kinds of different things that go on when you're trying to secure this bank or secure this boat in a location. Whereas now I can just pull up to a bank, hit the button on the dash, the pole goes down, and I can start fishing. It saves me tons of time. I love it. Something you should consider for your fishing pontoon if you do any of the same types of fishing that I do. If you watch the original video on the LUCILLE 4, you might remember that the storage compartment that's underneath this hatch was something that I took a lot of pride in, because it was one of the more complicated parts of this build in order to get it just right. One of the reasons that this is here was to help me balance this boat out so that it sat really level in the water. I really valued that when I originally built the boat, and it was kind of cool that it sat level. However, after fishing off of it for a long time, I realized that that wasn't as big an issue as what I had originally thought. And sometimes I deal with really rough water on the Mississippi River when there's a lot of wind or when there's a lot of barge water. And so there's times when I wanted the front to go ahead and ride a little higher. Also, I was going to be moving the trolling motor batteries. They used to be located in here. And I was going to be moving those batteries to another spot on the boat because I was going 36 volt over 24 volt. And that I didn't want to put more weight up here than what I already had. So this no longer houses the battery, the batteries. It's anchors, ropes, and a few other things down here, just general storage. And now I'll show you where I moved all that stuff to. So making our way back here into the wheelhouse, you may remember that underneath this seat, it used to just have the starter battery and a 12-gallon fuel tank. I've almost doubled the fuel capacity going to, this is a 23-gallon tank. Far better for my setup. I can get well over 100 miles. I don't know how many I could actually get, but definitely over 100 miles, real easy. But the big change down here was this setup for these batteries. I built an aluminum cage here to house 4 batteries for a 36 volt trolling motor setup and then a 12 volt starter battery. Not too complicated to build that. Just making sure that everything was going to fit was a little time consuming planning that out before I got too deep into the project. But moving all this weight basically to the center of the boat versus the bow of the boat has indeed made it handle rough water a lot better. It's a lot drier ride. Gas mileage is a little bit better. Top speed's the same, but it does seem to get a little bit better gas mileage. And I didn't really lose too much storage space. You know, you can lift this seat up and you can see, you know, I've got some life jackets under there. Still got the washdown pump in this same area. And you know, I can stack some groceries on there. I put Lincoln's dog bed on there when we're going down the highway. So yeah, bunch of batteries, more fuel, pretty big change. All right, here at the helm, we've got some pretty big changes. I have upgraded the sonar. It was a Helix 5. Now we've got a Helix 12 with side imaging. I've got a separate video on that. I believe it's titled, "Should You Upgrade Your Sonar?" That's here on the channel, and I'll try to put a link to that in the description for those who might be considering going to a higher end sonar unit. I've definitely enjoyed having it. One of the other changes, this steering wheel. I had a 13.5 inch wheel. This is a 15.5 inch wheel, and it's got the speed knob on it. Having the larger diameter wheel definitely did make it easier. It takes less torque to operate now, and I enjoy that very much. I'd recommend if you're building a pontoon, don't mess around with a 13 inch wheel. And I highly recommend the speed knob. I'm pretty good around a boat ramp, but man, I can really get around a lot easier with that speed knob. It makes a huge difference. Far more than what I had anticipated, and definitely worth having. The next one, this cool little Christmas present here. Victoria got me this Vhf Radio. The reason for this, it's not because I like to try to talk like a trucker. Let me assure you, I'm not real fond of talking on these things, but this is how the barges communicate on the Mississippi River, and it's a safety thing for me, because if you were going to do drifting out in the main channel, there's going to be a lot of times where those barges, they don't know if you see them. You know, they can't move around as much as we can, and really, to me, it's a courtesy to be able to communicate with them and just let them know what your intent is, where you're going, and that they don't need to worry about running over you, that sort of thing. That's why it's there. It works really good. I'll show the antenna up on the roof. So there's the antenna. It's somewhat massive. It's a 5-foot antenna. I just kind of went with what was recommended for this style of boat and for that radio. It folds down though. You just flip the lever on there and it folds down on the roof for traveling down the highway. It takes literally a couple of seconds to put up or down, and it works great. The range is impressive, and it's got a nice clear signal. So I've really enjoyed having that. You may see the windows here. These are wintertime only. Just a few screws, takes out the 2 side windows, and then this front one, if you can see that I've got slotted holes here, kind of like you might see on the back of some picture frames or wall hanging things, because I don't leave this up when I'm traveling down the highway. It would cut down on gas mileage, and it would get covered in bugs. So I popped that off for traveling from home to whatever boat ramp, and the side windows stay up there. But it makes a big difference. It keeps that wind off of you in the winter. It's awesome. I wish I had done it last season. I mean, I can sit in that wheelhouse on a 30-degree day going down the river at 25 miles an hour, and I don't even need gloves or a hat, really. Pretty cool how much that helps. That just about does it for the upgrades and modifications that I've done to this boat over the last few months. I hope it helps somebody. If you have any questions on it, leave it in the comments below, and I'll do my best to get them answered. I don't mind sharing any of the information with you if it's going to help you out. But as far as fishing today, we didn't get any bites in this first spot. It is a beautiful February morning. We're in some backwater right now because the river has jumped up about 7 or 8 feet in just the last 2 days, and the river is super muddy and a lot of debris in it. And a lot of times when the water comes up really fast, the fish will push out away from the main channel, and so we're looking for those. And we're gonna move on to the next spot, and maybe we'll get a fish or two on film. Stick around to the end of the video. You never know what we might get into. Here's a little 360 view for you. We are pushed up against this tree. Got some strong current going right underneath the boat, with the current seam just off to this side of the boat. Got lines out in 25 to 40 feet of water on that side. A little shallower off the back of the boat and in faster current, which is probably not going to do it for us today. We're going to move soon. As you can see, looking over that way, the water is really rolling today, and that's not even the river, that's just backwater. But it's cooking. Check it out, folks. Sitting here in the 5th spot of the day, and we still don't have a fish on the boat. We've had some bites, but no fish. This gave me time to think, and I've come up with an idea. As you can tell, I'm doing a 360 view, and it just so happens that I have done a 360 view from this exact spot once before in a previous video. So I'm going to give away a rig wrap prize pack, one of those value packages like I did a review video on recently. And I'm going to give that away to the first person that can tell me the exact title of the video that I did a 360 view in this spot before. You got to tell me the exact title and the exact time of the video that I did that 360 view. Just put it in the comments below, and I'll send you out one of the rig wrap value packs, just for fun.